The night air hung thick and heavy over Highway 17, clinging with the smell of gasoline and hot asphalt, a smell that seemed to seep into everything. The moon was a sliver low in the sky, casting long skeletal shadows across the empty highway. The only sound, the distant whine of a big rig hauling produce miles away. Steam rose from the cracked pavement like restless spirits, and somewhere in the darkness, a coyote howled a lonely song into the void. Marcus Webb had been a firefighter for 17 years, and in all that time, he'd never seen anything quite like this. His hands, tough and calloused from years of wrestling hoses and ripping open mangled metal, trembled just a little as he took in the scene. 43 years old, with streaks of gray in his hair, each strand a silent story of sleepless nights and those damn bills that always seemed to land before payday. His wife, Sarah. She'd left him 2 years back, took their daughter, Lily, out to Seattle. And now, the only family he had left were the men and women at Engine Company 33, sharing his coffee, sharing his silences. The loneliness in it pressed down on him, a real physical weight. But he never let it show. He'd just strap on his helmet each shift, waiting for that next call, that next chance to give his life some kind of meaning. Before we get ahead of ourselves, if you believe in courage, if you believe in showing gratitude, if you believe in standing up for strangers, then hit that like button, leave a comment, share this video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments section, because stories like this, they remind us that heroes aren't born. They're forged in those moments when ordinary folks choose to do extraordinary things. The call had come in at 2:47 in the morning. Motorcycle versus 18-wheeler on Highway 17. Caller reported one person trapped. Marcus was first on the scene, his engine screaming to a halt behind the jackknifed semi, the one that had turned the highway into a twisted scrapyard. What he saw, it made his blood run cold. Under the rear axle of that truck, pinned between the massive tire and a concrete divider, was a guy wearing leather, a vest bearing the unmistakable red and white insignia of the Hells Angels. The biker's face was contorted in pain, his leg crushed at an angle that made Marcus want to puke. Blood, black in the moonlight, pooled beneath him, slowly spreading across the asphalt. But it was his eyes. Those eyes that Marcus would never forget. They weren't the eyes of some dangerous outlaw, some guy to be feared. They were the eyes of a father and a son, a human being, terrified of dying alone on a cold stretch of highway. Marcus could have waited for backup. Protocol demanded it. The man was a Hell's Angel, after all, and everyone knew what that meant. But Marcus saw something else in those eyes, something that reminded him of his own father. In his final moments at the hospital 3 years ago, without saying a word, Marcus dropped to his knees and crawled under that truck. The metal groaned above him, threatening to shift at any moment. One wrong move, and they'd both be crushed. But Marcus reached out and took the biker's hand. "I am not leaving you," he said quietly, his voice steady despite the terror clawing at his throat. The biker, whose name was Vincent, later said those were the first words anyone had said to him in years that felt real. For 47 minutes, Marcus worked under that truck, using hydraulic spreaders, every ounce of strength he had, while Vincent gripped his hand, fighting to stay conscious. When they finally pulled him free, Vincent looked up at Marcus, tears cutting streaks through the dirt and blood on his face. He tried to speak, but Marcus just shook his head. "It's what we do," Marcus said, not knowing that those simple words would change his life forever. 3 weeks crawled by. Vincent's leg was saved. Though he'd walk with a limp for the rest of his days, Marcus went back to his shifts, his empty apartment, that same old grind, the routine of survival that passed for living. He thought about Vincent sometimes, wondered if the guy had made it back to his family, but he never expected to see him again. That all changed on a Saturday morning, when the sound of engines rattled the windows of Engine Company 33 like a thunderstorm rolling across the valley. Marcus stepped outside, coffee cup still in hand, and felt his heart stop. Motorcycles, dozens of them, then hundreds. They stretched down the block, around the corner, a river of chrome and leather that seemed to go on forever. Harleys and choppers idled in perfect formation, their engines rumbling like a pack of wolves that had come to claim their territory. Red and white patches blazed from every back, and at the front of the procession sat Vincent, still pale from his recovery, but his eyes burning with something that looked like purpose. He climbed off his bike slowly, his bad leg giving him trouble, bearing his weight with obvious pain, and walked straight to Marcus. "This man," Vincent called out, his voice carrying over the roar of 200 engines. "This man crawled under a truck to save my life. He didn't ask what club I was in. He didn't care about the patch on my back. He saw a man who needed help, and he gave everything he had." Vincent reached out and clasped Marcus's hand. "Our family, T. Doesn't forget that." What happened next would become legend in that small town. 173 Hells Angels dismounted from their bikes and went to work. They had heard about Marcus. They knew about the divorce and the empty apartment, the furnace that had broken 2 winters ago and never been fixed. They knew about the roof that leaked every time it rained, and the pickup truck sitting in his driveway with a dead engine because he couldn't afford the repairs. And they had come to fix all of it. For 6 hours, the parking lot of Engine Company 33 looked like a construction site. Men with tattoos snaking up their necks replaced shingles on Marcus's roof. Others ripped out the old furnace and installed a new one, their hands moving with the precision of men who had rebuilt motorcycle engines their entire lives. A group of women from the club showed up with bags of groceries, filling Marcus's empty refrigerator with eggs, milk, vegetables, fresh bread, enough food to last a month. Someone fixed his truck. Someone else repainted his bedroom walls. An older biker with a white beard sat in Marcus's living room and just talked to him about loss, about divorce, about the loneliness that comes when you give everything to a job that gives nothing back. When it was over, Vincent pressed an envelope into Marcus's hands. Inside was enough money to cover 6 months of rent and Lily's upcoming birthday present, a plane ticket to Seattle to see her. Marcus tried to refuse, his voice cracking as tears stung behind his eyes. "I can't accept this," he whispered. "I was just doing my job." Vincent shook his head slowly, a rare smile breaking across his weathered face. "You were doing more than your job, brother. You were being human. And that's something we never forget." He gripped Marcus's shoulder, in his voice dropping low. "If you ever need anything at all, you know who to call. You're family now, you hear? And before we wrap things up, we have one special request for you folks. Comment down below with the words, 'Courage saves lives,' to show you stand with Marcus. Because sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do is reach out their hand to someone the world has told them to fear. And when you do that, when you choose humanity over judgment, you might just find that the people everyone warned you about are the ones who will show up when no one else will. That's the truth right there. Like, share, and subscribe if you believe that kindness is the true measure of a hero. Because Marcus learned something that night. Out on Highway 17, he learned that family ain't about blood. It's about who shows up when you need 'em most, who's got your back, plain and simple. It's about the loyalty and the grit. It's about the ones who stand beside you, even when the chips are down and the whole world's telling them not to. That's family through and through. That's the kind of bond you can't buy or fake. It's earned in the trenches, in the quiet moments of solidarity. And that's something that's worth more than gold.